Hey Jens, how you doing?
We're back.
We are, and I'm glad. Today we're talking about our trigger grips, which is, we call it our trigger grip technology, which is something that I know people think that, wow, no big deal, kind of easy, right? There's developing an EVF takes like this amount of time. A trigger grip takes this amount of time. It is really a complicated thing. Sometimes electronics is one thing, but metal parts, in order to be able to sustain X amount of pounds per centimeter or inch and be able to really have it rock solid. We're not talking wiggly.
Right. But today, specifically, we're talking about our trigger grip extensions for the Nucleus grips. So we've leveraged our trigger grip technology for use with many kinds of grips. We've done it for most of the major cameras. They come with their own grips, but we relocate them and make it so that you can adjust them in any number of particular ways.
And we have wood ones too.
And standard wood ones, right. But so this latest product now is for the nuclear grips. We've adapted it to the Nucleus grips, not nuclear grips, Nucleus grips.
Wait, they're not nuclear? Oh, well, okay. Mandy, how you doing today?
Good. Welcome, everybody. I'll be following the chat on Facebook as usual, so let us know what kind of questions you have. We're offering 20% off our trigger grips for the next 48 hours with the coupon code TRIGGER20, and I'll put those details in the chat for you guys. So let's learn more about these trigger grips.
Right. All right. So I just want to kind of get into some of the reasons why we did this and why we adapted these for the Nucleus grips. So it comes with this rosette bracket, this L bracket, so the grips go on the bottom, and then this just goes to a plain old rosette. And you know how we feel about rosettes. First of all, you have to unscrew them to make any little adjustment. Right. They don't seem to always stay tight. I don't always trust them, especially when they're on many brackets like that. And it's not fast, and you can't adjust it on the fly.
No, lots of these grips now I've seen, they'll have 8, 9 rosettes on it. This thing has 4 rosettes, and they are adjustable within 1 second, and we'll show you that in a minute. All right, so here you can see how we have a camera's grip on the one side, and then we have a Nucleus grip on the other side. Now, sometimes having that camera grip, gotta admit, we talked about making our own grip for that side, but it has all the camera features built into it. It's pretty damn nice.
Yeah, this configuration is very commonly asked for by us, is to have the Nucleus grip in the left hand and then the camera's grip in the right hand like that.
Okay, so that's basically how you see that rod goes into the actual trigger grip mechanism for the upper trigger grip. So we have a trigger grip that's on the handle, and we have an upper one, and we're going to show you that more.
Okay, we actually sent a pair of Nucleus trigger grips to Zach Trinca to use on a recent project. So we can go ahead and introduce him and hear more about his project.
Hey Zach, how you doing? Let's talk about your feeling about the trigger grips.
Yeah, so I had the opportunity to use them on a branded content shoot down in Nashville a few weeks ago. And like any shoot, we're moving very quickly, and the trigger grips being so adjustable was a huge help. And so you can see I'm on the Easy Rig here, and I had one grip up by the front of the lens, and then another grip in the back right there. And that basically gives me full control, over the camera. And one of the things that I was concerned with is, how solid is that connection? Because with the Easy Rig, it takes very little movement to change the shot. And so you need to have a solid connection and a really stable connection to the camera in order to control it. So with that setup, with the trigger grips, it was so solid. With the Easy Rig, you can go high and low. But one of the things is when you're doing that, you can't get if you're using a normal rosette system, you're not able to adjust the grips. So with the trigger grips, I can go low, I can push that thumb button, adjust the grip quickly, and then, still maintain control of the camera. In addition to going low, when you go up high to set it on your shoulder, all I had to do was push those grips in again, slide them into a more comfortable position, and then, you're ready to go in a shoulder mount position. So, you're able to get the grips in exactly the right spot that you need to get them in to get the shot and get them there quickly. So that's huge.
Let's talk about the stability. I know people have looked at our trigger grips and said, oh, how stable can they be? But to me, it's more stable than an actual screw-on rosette.
Yeah, you guys can see the camera rig it's probably 20 pounds, maybe 20, 25 pounds. It's pretty beefed up. And once you lock it in, once you release that trigger and lock it into that position, I mean, that's all I'm holding the camera by. That's all you're controlling the camera with. So it's got to be, it's got to be solid.
I mean, here you can see your hand is in really, I dig this position here. I have never seen that. That's kind of cool, this sort of back position. It's like
you're holding a rifle or pistol.
Yeah, I was just going to say, it's like a real gun style
I mean,
shot there.
that is the easy rig, like, cool position.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
The subtle difference, and Zach, you'll back me up on this, I'm sure. There's when you're holding something, the difference between like a teeny little bit of movement is what we call, hand fatigue. You can get fatigued really quickly. So like, yeah, look at this. So show them how you can adjust this super quick.
Yeah, so not only is there fore and aft movement like this and at the upper part, but you can also twist your wrist.
When we designed this, I said, if you can't do that, let's not even bother with this thing, because you're shooting for 30 minutes, all of a sudden you just want to do that. You're like, oh God, man, my hand is killing me. And it's not a forward aft thing. It's just an angular thing.
Yeah,
Zach, what do you think?
The bend of your wrist.
That is my favorite feature of them. It's when I had that grip up by the lens, and I'm not sure if there's a shot of this, but that grip up by the lens, you can't have it in a position where it's straight up and down. You have to tilt it a little bit, or else it's just your wrist is in a horrible position. So being able to tilt that grip makes it so much more comfortable. And like you said, when you're shooting for 8 hours, it's those little tiny adjustments that make all the difference.
I love that shot there, man. I want to hold that like that. I've never held a camera like that.
Well, you haven't
It is
put an
really-
easy rig
it's
on
comfortable.
before.
Yeah, obviously, yeah.
Now the easy rig takes a little bit of the weight off the camera, obviously. But here, watch this. If you're doubting the strength of it, I have a pretty beefy rig going on right here, and I am holding this.
Shake the hell out of that thing.
Yeah, I mean,
It's not, you're never going to have.
this is not for the faint of heart. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you're not going to have that thing come undone. I mean, it's two rosettes with a massive spring in there.
Go back to the wide real quick. I'm just going to show. So the quickness here.
And then
I
set
put
that
this up.
baby on the ground.
And then I set it right on.
Boom.
It's fast.
That's an
easy.
issue that's where this whole thing came from, was that we were sick to death of putting these rigs down on the ground where it was like a praying mantis, where people were like, had grips, and it was just, you could never just put it in a case. Like here, go ahead and flip that one up and show how you can literally put the thing in a case.
Oh yeah, like, right.
And you got motors and stuff on here.
And if I fold these down, I'm upside down here. I mean, it's pretty tight.
There you go.
I have my-
into a case. Boom, out of the case. Now go ahead and let's see that go on your shoulder. How quickly can you get that?
I'm sitting down in a kind of an awkward position, so it might not be as quick as I would like, but
Yeah, but I mean,
this
you're
is
not
pretty
doing
darn
that
quick.
with 8 rosettes, man.
Right, there we
It's
go.
just not happening. So, I mean, that's the beauty of this thing. And then show them again, rock solid, haven't changed anything. Anybody else, you would have had to have a camera assistant, untying all these little, I mean, how many rosettes do you literally have in these photos we see on
There's
features?
at least
8?
No, well, 4 at least.
Well, yeah, but most of them have 2, then they have a joint here 2, and then they have 2 down at the grips.
I think we have one question, and then we can wrap it up.
Okay.
They're asking about the being able to configure the grips to either use the Nucleus right and left, or sometimes use a camera grip. And do they have to buy a whole new set, or can they configure them like that?
Well, some of this is a question for you, Mandy, because there's different combinations, but like I said earlier, a commonly asked for scenario is using the camera's grip in the right hand and then the Nucleus grip in the left to control whether it's focus and or zoom as well. So,
Right.
but we have several combinations.
You can buy like our double trigger grip base that has just the top trigger arms, and then you can buy the individual bottoms to configure them however you want. So if you want to use the Nucleus right and left on one shoot and then use your camera grip on another shoot, you can certainly do that.
The trigger mechanism, you can see a rod goes in there. And then there's like a little locking screw to keep it so that when you let the rod go out, it doesn't just fall out. Now, if you own that top trigger mechanism, and we have it in 15, and then we have a 15-19 version as well, we have all kinds of bottom parts, and you can interchange them any way you want. You don't have to rebuy that top part. Essentially, what you're buying is from
Correct.
the rod down. You can buy a Nucleus one, a FS7 one, you can buy a wood grip one, you can buy whatever you want.
Yeah, here's
Setting it on the ground, man.
right, quickly.
Critical.
And Zach, jump in here if you got any comments. But this is kind of basically showing the shoulder-mounted positions and how quickly you can adjust. But there's
Look at
one
that.
shot that shows, I believe it's in here, where it shows that you can still access the zoom control knob. I think that's coming up.
Length.
If not, just know that you can actually, get to on the one grip it has right by my thumb, right there. See the zoom control? So everything's accessible. You can get to it all.
Yeah, having that trigger so close to that zoom control is really key. Not having to move your hand, all around to try to change the position. It's just right where it's supposed to be.
Keeps your head in the game.
Really works. Yeah. Yep. And then one other thing I really like is you can turn, since you have the rod-based system, you can flip that rod over and put the grip underneath the rods. Instead of your hand being out here, your hand is now under the rails.
Right.
So it's, like I said, you can get them into any position you need to get them in.
That's actually a situation that you remember in like the 70s, guys that had E and G grips, they used to put a grip right under the lens, just like that.
Even into the 90s, Steve.
Okay, fine. Okay, fine.
I think I still see news guys doing that.
Yeah,
actually.
news guys do that, actually.
Right.
Okay, so Mandy, hey, first off, Zach, nice to meet you.
Yeah, thank you, Zach, for joining us today, and thank you, everybody, for watching. Don't forget, we're offering 20% off of all the trigger grips for the next 48 hours with the coupon code TRIGGER20. A big thank you to ICANN, who provided the lighting, and Canon and Rode and Kessler for sponsoring. Next week, we're taking a week off, but we'll see you back on the 3rd. Thank you, guys.